The word Gethsemane means oil press. And in order for oil to be produced, the olives would have to be squished. They'd have to be crushed in order to get this precious commodity of oil. And I think when I think of Gethsemane, I think of Jesus being crushed in the garden so that one day we could experience the Holy Spirit and his work in our life. But as Jesus is there praying, he asks the disciples to pray with him. And the Bible, the words that are used for the anguish that he feels are so descriptive. He asks them to pray. Of course, they fall asleep, but it's there in the garden. He prays multiple times, and he prays, if there's any other way that this can take place, let this cup, that is the cup of suffering, pass from me. And then he says, nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will. He submits to the will of the Father. Now think about this, Britt. Back in the very beginning of man's existence, there was a man by the name of Adam, and in a garden, he failed. He did not do the will of God. And as a result, death passed to all men. But here's Jesus in a completely different garden, the Garden of Gethsemane, and he is submitting to the will of the Father so that life might be passed to men and women, to humanity. One failed to surrender, one surrendered. One brought death, one would bring life. And what went down in that garden and what he experienced, even as you mentioned, praying, and it says his sweat became like great drops of blood, that medical term hematidrosis, where the capillaries begin to burst, but a decision had been made. He was going through with it. There was no turning back there in the Garden of Gethsemane for Jesus.